matchup and make it into this top 8 as well.
Yeah, so actually we're just having a look through. We got some of these guys' accomplishments before, just so you guys have an idea of what their background is. Indeed, this is pretty much Victor's best result yet. We looked through, we couldn't really find anything that he'd done before on the same level as this. So he's already, even if he, not that we know that he's going to win or lose, but even if he loses his matchup, he's going to be very, very happy with his finish this weekend.
Oh yeah, for sure. Still finishing in the money here, even if he does miss the top 8.
Yeah, and also I made a terrible mistake. I've definitely undersold Nicolas Galaz. He is one of the top 8 finishers from the Worlds this year.
Oh man.
Yeah.
This is going to be insane to watch.
I feel really terrible now. I'm not going to lie. Normally my player knowledge is a lot more on point than that. But yeah, apologies to Nicolas Galaz. Wow, this is going to be absolutely incredible to watch.
Yeah, we'll see if he can pull out a victory here and get into the top 8 here in Sao Paulo. This is the ultimate round we've been waiting for. And we'll see after this round, we'll have our top 8 pretty much set.
Yes, we will. Now, both players have got their headsets on, and we are starting to get the decks through, so we can give you some idea of what these guys are playing.
Ooh, it is looking like Granbull from Victor here.
Yeah, Victor Frietas, we're playing that Granbull deck. We've seen it so many times already. We know the deal. We know what's up. And it's just going to be the same deal again. Can Victor figure out that puzzle of the best way to sequence his turns to get that consistent 160 damage every turn with the Granbull?
And then, meanwhile, looking at Nicholas's deck, it is...
Oh my goodness.
We have a mirror match here for you folks. Granbull mirror, and the victor will make top 8.
So there's guaranteed at least one Granbull in the top 8 at this point is basically what we're saying.
Oh man, this is going to be exciting to watch because both of these decks really just play a game of solitaire.
Yeah.
You don't really interact with your opponent other than Guzma. So we could see a few plays where you Guzma up their Macargos, try to stymie their setup a little bit. But it's really just going to be, I'm going to play my cards, hope to get it. And you're going to play your cards, hope you get it. Yeah. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing here to talk about is going to be kind of the differences in the two lists. So we do actually see here that from Nicolas specifically, he's actually playing a Zeb Striker line in his list. He's playing a 1/1 Zeb Striker. This is, of course, the Zeb Striker with Sprint that allows you to discard your hand and then draw 4 cards. A really, really cool new support draw Pokemon from Lost Wonder.
Yeah, one that I thought we would see a lot more of this weekend, but it's still been very good in the decks we have seen it.
Yeah, we have seen it a fair amount day one, to be fair. It's one of those things where I think some people, it's like Joe was saying yesterday, you always have to respect a Pokemon which has like a draw ability just because they'll almost always inherently be good by the virtue of drawing cards is good. But yeah, definitely perhaps not seen it as much as we would have thought in day 2 at least.
All right, and the biggest thing that these decks play for the mirror match is that tool card, Bodybuilding Dumbbells. Looking at Nicholas's deck, he does not play a copy. And looking at Victor's, he plays 2 copies of Dumbbells.
So that's going to be absolutely huge. That's definitely going to make a big difference in how this matchup plays out.
Yeah.
And
if both players get set up, then Victor will have the advantage with those 2 Dumbbells in his deck.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, I mean, who would have thought, right, preparing for the Granbull Mirror would be something that you need to do, but that does end up being the way it's played out. And okay, looks like 2 trying to punishment prize there, but that's fine.
Those are perfect prizes because both of you are playing 3. Whoever gets the first one in play, it's really going to stick for a while, and that's going to be stuck in your hand.
Yeah, and that's going to create problems because it means that the Granbulls won't be able to get to the 160 damage as easily. Wow.
All right. And here we are, the final round of Swiss here for the International Championships in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we have a Granbull mirror match for you.
This is, I'm looking forward to this a lot, to be honest.
I'm loving this right now.
Notice that both players have actually set off. It looks like that's going to be Nicolas going first, or is it? Oh no, the camera needs to still flip around. So it's going to be Victor going first, and he has opened with the Apricorn Maker.
Yeah, going first is huge in this matchup. Being able to evolve your Macargos and your Granbulls before your opponent and take the first prize is really what you want. And if Victor can actually pull off a few Dumbbells early too, we could see a pretty clean sweep.
Yeah, indeed. So what's he going to go for off of this Apricorn Maker? It looks to be a Nest Ball and an Ultra Ball. Of course, I wanted to get the Nest Ball just to start getting his ideal setup out with all the basics he wants, but also Ultra Ball being important just to thin out the hand and get rolling with these all-outs for 160 damage.
And there is the Nest Ball. This Scramble deck, like I said, is pretty straightforward. You're going to do the same thing every game, and it's not really going to change.
No.
Your whole game plan is, I'm going to get 0 cards in my hand and do 160.
Yeah, that doesn't change just because you're in a mirror match. In fact, if anything, in a sense, it becomes more important because if you miss a beat of attacking against the GX deck, for example, you still, you might get KO'd, but you KO back and you're even. If you miss a beat of attacking here, that means you're one prize behind in winning tempo, essentially, and that's a lot more impactful.
Yeah, there's no real comeback potential in this mirror match. It reminds me a lot of, all the way back to 2011, one of my favorite decks was Reshiram Typhlosion.
But that was the deck you got top 8 with, wasn't it?
Yeah. Basically, it was a deck where your mirror match was, as long as you continue your string of knockouts, it's whoever took the first knockout is going to win.
Yeah, because it's just attached with Typhlosion Prime, KO Reshiram with Reshiram, and just trade back and forth until someone misses or until the game ends.
All right, and there we see a pass from Victor, having his pretty ideal setup now. And we see a Nest Ball from Nicolas here.
Yeah, just again looking through, just make sure that he knows what's available to him. Just looking for all the options in his deck. There is the other 1/1 Zeb Striker line that we saw there. Just really cool choice from Nicolas, just to be able to get that more consistent draw engine going.
Yeah, Zeb Striker might be one of the difference maker here too. Is if both players have cards stuck in their hand that they can't really use. It could be something that you're like, okay, I'll discard a bunch of these supporters that I can't play. Yeah,
it's one of these ways to get, especially the Shrine of Punishments as well, like we already mentioned. Whoever gets the first one down is going to create essentially 3 dead cards in the other person's deck, so you need to be able to just get rid of those as quickly as possible.
And having pretty much the perfect start here without an Apricorn Maker, getting down a ton of Pokemon, but again, that's what this deck does.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just playing all the ball search cards, all the Nest Balls and Ultra Balls, just to really thin the hand down to a minimal size. And look at this from Nicolas. It's actually a much better setup than Victor. Victor's setup is okay, but look what we have from Nicolas' side. 2 Slugmas, an Oranguru, a Ditto ready to come something else, and another Oranguru and a Snubble.
We have 3 pair, folks.
Yes.
3 pair.
Yeah. 3 pair. That is absolutely incredible. And there goes the first instruct from Nicolas, going to drop to 3 cards. And
having the Macargo in his hand and Diantha as well. That could be kind of a tricky card to play around this early on, especially since with the Slugma active, it's not really going to be turned on next turn if Victor takes a prize.
No, indeed it's not. And unfortunately for Nicolas, that Great Ball not finding the Grand Ball, that's really what or maybe even a Macargo, but no evolutions basically. There's not really anything there he wants to actually grab. So instead, after playing the Great Ball, he's going to go for another Instruct. And I'm not sure what you found there. It's like...
Probably just kept it in his hand and passed.
All right, so now back to Victor.
Oh, it looks like a Fiery Flint, which is not bad for getting rid of that Diantha.
Yeah, that's still pretty good. That means that as long as he's able to find the things he needs off of Macargo, he will be able to instruct into and to set himself up for an all-out for 160. But
all right, so this is a little awkward hand from Victor here. Having the Ultra Ball, discarding the Switch and the Rescue Stretcher, but he still needs a few cards. Getting the Macargo most likely, but he will be able to get his hand down as well.
Yeah, there is very much a potential for an attack with the Grand Ball for a knockout this turn, given that he has got the Ditto and the active with an energy, that could become a Grand Ball. And so it's just a matter of him playing out the rest of his hand to make sure that he gets all the pieces he needs and that he can set up a follow-up attacker efficiently. There goes the Smooth Over.
Yeah, the biggest thing, too, is being able to do all of this with getting Snubbles in play.
Yes, exactly. He does have 1 Snubble in play already, to be fair, so I think if he does just go for the Grand Ball this turn, plays out the rest of his hand, and takes the KO, that still actually puts him in a fine position.
Well, he went with a very good card, Apricorn Maker, putting it on top and then instructing, being able to search his deck for Nest Ball and possibly the Ultra Ball to get Grand Ball here, because the 2 cards in your hand you do not need for this matchup, Choice Band and Shrine of Punishment.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are literally pretty much the perfect Ultra Ball fodder. So yeah, there it is. Nest Ball is going to grab himself another either another Slugma or another Oranguru. Probably not another Snubbull, given that he already has one on the bench, and the ideal setup is really 2 of each one. So, yeah, there it is, another Oranguru. So he has 2 instructs per turn now. That's going to be pretty much the ideal for him. Ultra Ball discards the Shrine of Punishment and the Choice Band, and so he's going to grab Grand Ball and take the first knockout of the game. So advantage Victor immediately.
This could be a little awkward, though, because with only the 1 Magcargo in play, it might be threatened by maybe a Guzma if Nicolas actually has access to it, but he is also down a Slugma as well.
Yeah, so it's no matter which way you look at it, it's got to Nicolas has got to be, or Victor has got to be pretty happy with how that turn panned out.
Ooh, another supporter off the top. It's the Tate and Liza, and actually we're going to see the often not used effect in this Grand Bull deck. Shuffle your hand in and draw 5 cards. He still needs quite a few cards to put together. Didn't have the energy turn 1 like Victor did, and drawing 5 cards, he is pretty much. It'll take a lot of bad luck for him to get down at least to an instruct.
Yeah, especially considering he has the one Magcargo out, and looks like he drew 1 Fairy Energy off that and the Grand Ball. That's actually really perfect. That's actually a really good hand, as long as he's able to find something he can use to discard that Diantha he drew.
Yeah, well, he still has access to Smooth Over, so he could get a card like Fiery Flint or Ultra Ball.
And he's going to evolve the Grand Ball in the active. Imagine, the Fairy Energy is going to go on too. Now, does he go for the Great Ball immediately? Yes, he does. Probably ideally looking for another Grand Ball would be great, or perhaps even another Slugma. Or he could just find nothing.
Or nothing. Yeah,
Yikes.
Unfortunately, he would have loved to see Magcargo, Grand Bull, or Snubbull. Either of them would have been amazing here. And then shortcutting right away, Smooth Over, Instruct, get that Ultra Ball, get the Snubbull down.
Yeah.
Really kind of prioritizing that Ditto Prism Star just in case this Magcargo goes down.
Yeah, because that way, next turn, if the Magcargo does go down, the second Magcargo will be available to him. But just discarding, this entire hand is gone now, so that will be the all out for 160. And Nicolas is keeping up tempo right now, which is still good. But the way he needs to progress if he wants to actually win this game is to try and...
Victor actually just drew his own copy of Tate and Liza. Could opt to go the same route here.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Does have Ultra Ball in his hand, a pretty good card, but he still needs a few cards as well. And if he could kind of find one of his bodybuilding dumbbells, that would be game-breaking.
Yeah, it's one of those tricky things where he actually...
Diantha off the Instruct for 1, not even wanting to Smooth Over. He was really just hoping to discard that card with Ultra Ball.
Yeah, exactly. But as it said, it ended up being a card that's really good. So, but now with the Diantha, I'm fairly sure that guarantees that he's able to get the return knockout.
Yeah, Diantha gets the Grand Bull and the Energy, or possibly, Grand Bull and Energy. He can Instruct and then Ultra Ball for a Snubbull. Yeah,
and that would be really great for him. There is the Diantha.
Oh, he still has access to Smooth Over as well.
So, and having only used 1 Instruct, he can basically just guarantee that the second card he gets off of the Instruct is useful.
Something he wants to discard.
Exactly. There it is, Grand Ball, Energy. Imagine, and you could go for just another Instruct.
Oh, it's another, no, it's a Guzma, okay. I thought it was another Diantha, and I was,
Yeah, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. I guess, so that means what he's instead doing is going to Smooth Over now and just make sure that his top deck for next turn is perfect, which is completely fair as well.
Yeah, probably maybe a card like Apricorn Maker. Such a powerful card in a deck like this. Really got a lot of hype after rotation, after we lost cards like Bridget and things like that. But then kind of didn't really fit into most decks. Lily was just better option. But when you don't want to draw cards, it's perfect for.
Yeah, interestingly enough, he does opt to go for the Rescue Stretcher off of the Smooth Over, puts that to the top of the deck, takes his second prize of the game. Now, again, going back on Nicolas, does he, or rather, is he able to find the pieces that he needs again to take a return knockout? He's got a second Magcargo out now, which is very good for him.
And this is why he left that Ditto Prism untouched. Just having 2 Magcargo out is insane for this deck, and really having access to his entire deck this game.
Definitely, and it looks like he's actually just going to opt for the Diantha off of the Smooth Over. Of course, if he instructs into that, it will pretty much, again, guarantee that he has the return knockout. So no one quite missing a beat just yet. But again, like we mentioned, the problem being if this carries on at the current pace it is, Victor's going to win because he took the first prize.
Yeah, especially if he has access to his dumbbells as well. This is actually the first game, at least I've seen, with these Granbull decks that actually showcases the power of Diantha as a supporter card.
Yeah, definitely, because both players are pretty much guaranteed to knock out a Fairy Pokemon because of the way that that's the matchup sort of plays out. It's just, going to make Diantha live more often than not, which is why we're seeing now it being used so much.
All right, same exact play from Nicolas here. Smooth over.
Oh, this is slightly different, actually, because Victor opted to smooth over at just the end of his turn, whereas actually Nicolas is opting to go for it now. Or maybe got something in mind that he wants to see to maybe fill up that last bench slot in the ideal manner.
Well, he has that Ultra Ball in hand. I could even see him just getting a Choice Band or a Shrine of Punishment to put in his hand.
So he didn't
Oh,
have...
he had the Fiery Flint, that's right.
That's it, but he got the Ultra Ball to smooth over, so yeah, then he can discard his hand and probably just imagine grab himself another Snubble. And again, another ideal turn for Nicolas as he's able to get the backup attacker potentially ready and then just take the KO on Victor's Granbull.
And it is, this is really the only deck that will play this way. And it shows how versatile Pokemon is as a card game. There's so many options you can go. There are mill decks that have been in Day 2 where you really just don't attack at all and hope to mill your opponent out. Then there's the Zoroark control deck where it has that option, but it also can just lock your opponent out of the game, and it can just take prizes as well.
Yeah.
And then you have a deck like Granbull where I'm going to play basically the entire game with no cards in hand at the end of my turn and still just dominate your board.
Yeah, and this is sort of pretty much the almost a takeaway from Lost Thunder is that it's kind of impacted the game in a way where the amount of decks which are viable is increased by a lot because you just have these new archetypes coming in and Ninetales making all these Stage 2 archetypes viable again all of a sudden, and it's really, really cool to see.
There is the smooth over from Victor here. Probably looking for Diantha.
Sure enough, there it is. He plays it.
All right, so he does have the Energy Recycle system in his hand that he got from the prizes, so he probably won't search for that with this Diantha. Could just see the 1-1 Granbull line here.
Yeah, just evolve the active and get the other Snubble down ready to go for next turn should he need it. Actually, maybe think about going for a Nest Ball, interestingly enough.
Yeah, we'll kind of thin out your deck of those Snubble or Granbull.
So he goes for Snubble and Nest Ball.
Oh, he has the Rescue Stretcher in hand.
Oh, yes, of course he does.
So this could probably get him the second Slugma.
Or another Snubble? Yeah.
There we go.
But just wanting to get out as many Snubbles as possible just to make sure that he always has a follow-up attacker to work with.
Yeah, definitely thinking ahead here. He is up in the advantage a little bit, being able to go down to 3 prizes this turn after he attacks.
Oh, of course, the other Slugma's prize. That's why he's not going for it.
So
it explains everything.
Yeah, and that also means that having to evolve that Ditto Prism Star is pretty game-breaking earlier on in that game.
It really, really is. So he won't be able to find the second Macargo unless he somehow manages to fish out the prizes before the game finishes.
Yeah, and Joe was saying earlier with Tord's game how you really don't do anything for your turn until you figure out everything you're going to do.
Yeah, and then it's just some explosion of cards being played.
So there is the first smooth over for Nicolas here.
He's got to be very careful with what he picks here. He still, although he's been taking his KOs quite convincingly, he's been doing his setups well. He still hasn't quite been able to find the turn where he can use it to swing the KO tempo in his favor. Right now, he's still 1 prize behind Victor constantly, and he cannot let this carry on if he wants to win this match.
So he still has access to 1 smooth over, most likely going to get him an energy. And it feels kind of safe for him since he has that Mysterious Treasure in hand that he can just discard whatever else he draws with it.
Yeah, he knows that no matter what he gets, he will be able to clear out his hand for another all-out, and I'm sure whatever what he's getting at this point will be just the Fairy Energy to guarantee the attack.
Yeah, and it's just insane to think about how consistent this deck is once it gets set up and how easy it is to get down to 0 cards in your hand.
Yeah. Oh, and he actually just draws.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, draw the Zeep Striker that you can't even use. discard it with Mysterious Treasure, check to see what you have. All right, I know my game plan.
Yeah, no, that is, again, pretty ideal for Nicolas. So, again, on goes the Fairy Energy, and it's another all-out. Again, no one missing a beat yet in this mirror match.
All right, all out for the knockout. And doing the double snubble play last turn kind of helps Victor here, because now he doesn't have to Diantha for another basic or try to just search out. He has that backup already. So maybe this is the turn where he probably finds that bodybuilding dumbbells.
Yeah, and that would be if he's able to, whack that on and then prevent a KO from Nicolas, and that puts him even further ahead in tempo, as if he's already ahead, and that would, if that stops Nicolas from getting a KO, then that would be absolutely phenomenal.
All right, so evolve into that Gramble and then smooth over, debating what he really wants to do. He has that. Oh, he's looking at his discard. Okay. Instructs blind, hits the energy, and a rescue stretcher as well.
Wow, that's a pretty incredible, no matter which way you look at it. He'd be able to use the rescue stretcher. Oh, and an Apricorn Maker.
Yeah, he had that in his hand from the prizes.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. Great card to see.
Yeah, so essentially it was all guaranteed that he's going to have 0 cards in his hand at the end of the turn.
Yeah, there's no way he was missing that. It's just a matter of, like you said, whether he's able to find the bodybuilding dumbbells to make it even harder for Nicolas.
Well, right now it looks like a good option for him. He already has that energy.
There is the Apricorn Maker. Deciding what to get off of that. Looks like Nestball is going to be one of them. He might just choose to leave it at that, just because he might not be able to play out a second card if he were to get it. Although he does have a couple of Great Balls left. No. Okay, yeah, he does just Apricorn Maker for the Nest Ball, which gets him the snubble. Yeah,
it's also because later on, if you draw into Great Ball, it's just a card you could pitch.
Yeah, that's true. It's one of these insta-play cards that you don't want to... That's not bad to draw into.
All right, so here we see him smooth over for Palpad. It's actually a pretty heads-up play just because you are ahead in the prize race. And you do have access to probably a field blower in your deck. So even if your opponent does play bodybuilding dumbbells, you have some play against it. But this puts back both Diantha, which is still insane in the mirror match.
Yeah, it's just because of the way this mirror match plays out, unless what Nicolas could do ideally is maybe Guzma KO the Macargo or the Oranguru, because that way Diantha would not be live. At the same time, if he does that, it means that there's a Gramble just ready to attack straight away. So it's a bit of a catch-22.
Ultra Ball, then you don't even need the Macargo.
Yeah. It's not looking great for Nicolas, no matter which way you look at it.
And it's hard to say that about someone who has 2 Macargo and 2 Oranguru in play.
Yeah, it's just because, like you said at the beginning of the match, Jeremy, Victor's gone first, he's taken the first KO, and the match is just played out normally. There's been no turnaround turn where Nicolas has been able to prevent Victor from taking a prize.
So he has that Shrine of Punishment in his hand. Could just play it down to try to draw more cards with Instruct here.
Yeah, so there's Instruct for 2.
Actually, not even smooth over for here. And wow, that was a pretty good 2 cards.
That was a pretty good 2 cards.
Gramble and a Stretcher.
So now he could use the other smooth over, or use a smooth over rather, to find the Fairy Energy, and then Instruct into that. Oh no, but then if he does that, he wouldn't have enough cards to discard off the Ultra Ball. Oh dear.
It'll be interesting to see what he chooses to do here.
He does have a Rescue Stretcher as well, which he looks like he might be considering playing. He does indeed. Is he going to get back something to the hand? Yes, he's going to get back a Snubble, and he's just going to put it straight down. God, imagine the thought process going through these 2 players' minds at this point in time, just thinking... I
wouldn't even be able to keep up.
No, it's just such a brain power intensive deck, in spite of the fact, people, when you say to someone, oh, this deck plays a little bit like your Solitaire, you think, oh, it's just, I'm going to do my combo and just do my damage, and it's just very easy to pilot. Not at all the case with Gramble. You just have to be really, really careful about what you pick every single turn.
Yeah, so it actually is awkward that Nicolas drew the Rescue Stretcher because he really just needed cards to discard. with that Ultra Ball. So now being forced to smooth over for Apricorn Maker. Oh.
No, maybe not. What did he grab instead?
I'm not sure. Maybe Rescue Stretcher?
Another one. Okay, so he's going to instruct anyway, so we'll be able to see it now.
These are big 2 cards. It was a Guzma. So,
oh,
wow.
Okay.
Guzma and a Grand Bull off the top from that instruct. He has the Ultra Ball in hand, but no energy.
He's probably going to grab it now off of this move over, but he's used both his instructs. Yeah, that's a Guzma. He's going to bring up the Makago, is anything he can do, and actually Nicolas misses the attack this turn.
And this is heartbreaking right now. He was already behind in the prize trade thanks to Victor going first, but now he misses an all-out attack, and this is big.
This is, could not be bigger, because now Victor, all he really needs is a Guzma of his own. He gets the Makago out of the way, brings up the Grand Ball, KOs it, and then he's 2 prizes ahead, and at that point there's almost no way Nicolas can come back.
Yeah, he does have only 1 smooth over available to him, but 2 instructs.
I believe I saw Guzma in the deck, Jeremy.
Yeah, he hasn't really used any Guzma this game, or been forced to discard any as well. So there's a blind instruct there. Field Blower, Apricorn Maker, and Oranguru. Those are 2 cards that you don't really want to see.
No, not right now. There's no discard outs in that hand, which makes things a little bit more awkward.
Could we see Victor miss the attack here as well?
Potentially. I mean, so it wouldn't be the end of the world for him, because it would essentially just put them back to the pace they were before. But it would mean that if Nicolas were able to evolve the active Snubble into a Grand Ball and get a Fairy Energy, he could KO the Makago, which would mean that Victor would have no access to smooth over at all.
So there is smooth over for Victor here.
What's he going to pick?
Also, drawing the Field Blower, it's really interesting, because the way you approach this mirror match, you really have to respect bodybuilding dumbbells. And he plays 2. So not knowing what your opponent's exact list is, he saw the Zeep Striker, so maybe that kind of gives a little bit of hint, like you have a few more cards than I don't. But it is a card that is a popular inclusion, at least as a one-of in this list.
Yeah, it's just something that you got to be very careful about. And obviously he doesn't know that Nicolas doesn't play bodybuilding dumbbells. And in fact, because it's only Victor that's playing it. So,
yeah. So he kind of wants to prioritize that Field Blower in his hand. He's like, well, if I'm going to miss the attack here, he attacks me with a bodybuilding dumbbells. I'm going to need this, but he kind of just has to even play a card. And there we see the Apricorn Maker. He drew into a Lost Blender that he put on top. That's a card that was in some of the lists that came out before, and it's really good. Just remove 2 cards, draw a card.
Yeah, it's just another one of these, hand thinning cards that anything that you get rid of with it goes to the Lost Zone. So that's then something you can't deactivate
with smooth over.
Yeah, be interesting to see what he actually puts to the top here. Maybe he just goes to the Guzma straight away. Yeah, actually, is what he's going to put to the top. Well, it looks like, at least.
Yeah, that way next turn you can just Guzma, or it looks like Diantha as well.
There's
went with the 3rd option. Probably a Fairy Energy. All right, all out. Nicolas now ties it up 2-2 prizes, and this is going to be a big couple of turns here. Bodybuilding dumbbells off the top for Victor there.
Wow.
Granted, with the 2 Makargo that Nicolas has, he does have access to the 1 Field Blower in his deck.
Yeah.
But if he chooses to Field Blower it this time, and then next time, he might not have the Field Blower.
No, exactly. This is actually pretty much ideal situation. No matter which way you look at it, Victor just needs to be careful to make sure that he doesn't play this out in a way where he can't thin out his hand. He's got access to the Lost Blender. He's got the bodybuilding dumbbells. He's got enough cards that he could play out to make it okay. He just needs to tread carefully here. He actually is just going to go for the Lost Blender first off. Gets rid of the Oranguru obviously, and the Great Ball. And
drawing a Fairy Energy, which was pretty good there.
Yeah, this is pretty good. He goes for the bodybuilding dumbbells on the active, and then he can just instruct for 2, discard whatever he gets, and take the KO.
Yeah, he's really looking to not draw anything of relevance here off of that instruct.
What does he draw?
Field blower, great ball. That's fine.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, he's more than happy to discard those. Rather, of all things he could have discarded, he could definitely discard it a lot worse. So he's going to look through now to see what he still has access to, and just going to go for the all-out. I think this turn playing it out the way it has done has pretty much sealed the deal for Victor for this game at least.
Well,
that could be premature.
You got to remember, field blower is going to be a big thing. But yeah, as long as he can get his hand down 2-0 next turn, it's looking like it will take the game. Yeah,
because that's exactly the problem. I mean, Nicolas can easily, like you mentioned, get the field blower and take the knockout. That's fine. But then, can he stop Victor from taking another KO? I honestly don't think he can.
He actually promoted the Macargo because he is going to Guzma this turn, most likely. Do you, Guzma, take a knockout on a Oranguru, kind of stymie his draw a little bit?
Potentially, yeah. It might mean that he has less outs to play cards to draw into enough stuff to thin out his hand. And
yeah, there it is. Guzma on the Oranguru has the Shrine of Punishment and then another smooth over for next turn if he chooses to. Yeah, almost forgot about it.
But he does go for it. Seeing what's left, but puts the field blow down.
One awkward thing, there is no other snubble, but if Victor takes the knockout, it's game over anyway.
Yeah, he knows he doesn't need to get another snubble out. So there it is. KO. Can Victor play his hand out? This is all it comes down to. Draws.
Oh, no. I think he drew into a Grand Bowl. There's a Slugma that he got from the prizes as well. With only one Oranguru now, this instruct needs to hit an Ultra Ball or something to get his hand down. Shrine of Punishment, Fairy Energy. He will not be able to get his hand down, and I think Nicolas just stole this game.
Unbelievable. How, my goodness.
There's the field blower on the top. Apricorn Maker all out, take the knockout. Nicolas Galaz up 1-0.
I am speechless, Jeremy. That was, oh my goodness.
Basically capitalizing on the one turn that he did not have the knockout, choosing to instead Guzma the Macargo into the active spot, and then in turn Victor missed his own Guzma, wasn't able to get his hand down either, opted to just pass, and then his Macargo got knocked out, and because of that, wasn't able to get his hand down to 0.
Yeah, one of those things that you just assume that, of course, will have enough outs to be able to discard the rest of his hand, but no, drawing that Grand Ball and not having access to Macargo, like you said, to be able to guarantee the out to thin out the hand, and then not drawing it off the instruct because there was less draw. Nicolas cannot have played that more perfectly if he tried. That is absolutely astonishing.
And, I mean, there's a reason this guy got top 8 at Worlds.
Yeah, clearly.
Wow.
That's, I mean, and now as well, I mean, considering how much time has expired from the clock,
that was a pretty long game. You wouldn't really think of it because these are just such fast decks, but you're doing so many actions and thinking.
And only taking one prize each time as well.
And only taking one prize, so it actually tends to be a long game.
Yeah, it really does, and both of these players are going to need to, as much as they really can't afford to, because they need to get their decisions right when they're doing this sequencing. They need to be able to play a bit faster to actually, or rather, Victor does, if he wants to see enough game time to go to a game 3 and take this match back.
Wow.
I did not see that coming at all.
Really just playing to his outs and saying, I hope you don't have it.
Yeah, and lo and behold, he didn't, and that means that Nicolas has now taken game 1. He's got to be smiling about that. He knows how close he was potentially to losing.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really hindered Victor's setup a little bit was not having bodybuilding dumbbells earlier on in the game.
Yeah, definitely, because that is like the one tool that he can use to really, take the edge in the mirror. And he, by the time he found it, it was too late because Nicolas had access to the field blower and was able to just take the win.
Yeah, and that's really important too, is that Nicolas only plays one field blower.
So, but I mean, if you have the 2 Macargo out, it doesn't matter, right? You can always just find it exactly when you need it.
All right, prizing 2 Fairy Energy and a Rescue Stretcher for Nicolas there.
Yeah.
2 Snubble and a Slugma. 2 Slugma in the prizes. Having only Ditto Prism Star.
Oh my goodness, that is not what you want to see in the winning in of the final Swiss round at the International Championships.
Especially, you lost when you had the advantage going first.
Yeah.
Now you have going first again, really needing to pull out a win within 18 minutes.
And you can see he's already sped up massively already. He's just, looking through his deck, trying to make sure he gets everything, and just going straight for the Ditto Prism. Yeah, there it is. 2 Slugma prized, in case it wasn't clear enough.
And 2 Snubble, too. This is really going to put a big burden on his back for this game.
It's absolute heartbreak for Victor at this point once he sort of sees all of that.
He's really going to need to get a fast start and get these knockouts going without the help of Macargo to try to get in those basic Pokemon.
Yeah, he is. He's got second Oranguru. He can start doing some instructs. I actually just attached the fairy to the Ditto. Does instructs for free. And finds a Tate and Liza, as well as a Rescue Stretcher and an Apricorn Maker. Yeah, so he's just going to go for that straight away, of course. Probably just grab a couple of Nest Balls, get 2 Snubbles.
Yeah, but with his hand the way it is now, it is pretty hard to get it down, especially if he opts for 2 Nest Ball here.
Oh, yeah, he has to, right? He just needs to get more basics down.
Oh, man.
1. You can look through the deck as much as you want. There's no Slugmas there.
And the other Snubble was right on top. This is heartbreaking. I'm trying to see if I can see his facial reaction, but
no, I think you can just tell from the way he's flicking through, just desperately trying to see maybe I just missed it. And
this is where you have to know something's up if you're Nicolas.
Yeah, you look through and you think, where are the Slugmas? What's going on here? Is this real life?
We can actually see a play of Guzma the Ditto Prism attach a Fairy Energy to Snubble, discard 2 items from his hand to deal 40 damage.
Wow, that would be incredible.
That would mean no Macargo for essentially the entire game until Victor starts taking prizes.
Yeah, and he got the bodybuilding dumbbells. Seeing it early this time, but that's really not, he would much rather just have access to a Slugma.
Yeah, it's looking like Nicolas Hand does not have that spicy play.
No.
But he will be able to just get set up here, and he's already ahead having Slugma.
I mean, if your setup is that far ahead regardless because your opponent has 2 Slugma prize, I don't think you're going to be too concerned either way.
Yeah, and seeing how this game may shape up, it might look like a long one, and that's exactly what Nicolas wants.
Because, the longer it goes on, the more likely he is to just be able to win on the virtue of having won the first game of the match.
And there is the 1 draw supporter in the entire deck for both of these players. Tate and Liza, again, shuffle draw 5 2 times in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Nicolas just needs to see a lot more basics right now. He needs energy, stuff to evolve, maybe some more ball search cards. So absolutely probably the best time to play the Tate and Liza, given that even if he doesn't thin out his entire hand, he wouldn't be able to attack anyway.
All right, hits another Snubble. That is exactly what you need. Also has a Great Ball here.
Could be fetch something good. Oh, look, there's the
Macargo. It's not bad. Also another Snubble, but Macargo is what you want.
Yeah, you got 2 Snubbles down already. You don't need a third one. It's definitely the Macargo what you want to go for here.
And even having the Diantha for next turn or the Guzma, depending on what Victor does with his turn as well.
Yeah, so draw for turn for Victor. He does find himself an Apricorn Maker. That's a pretty good find.
That's a pretty good find, but this Oranguru is stuck active right now. He was kind of hoping to draw into something like a Grand Bull to even just take a quick knockout here to try to fish out one of those Snubble or Slugma in the prizes.
Indeed, and interestingly enough, bodybuilding dumbbells goes onto the Ditto.
Yeah, he kind of just hoping he gets some Slugma from the prizes and maybe hoping a Grand Bull can kind of survive a couple turns.
Yeah, just carry him through a bit. He actually opts to play the Rescue Stretcher.
Oh, he discarded a Grand Bull turn 1.
Yes, he did. But
so
he's evolved the Ditto into the Grand Bull.
Yeah.
So he has no access to Macargo now.
No access to Macargo, and actually has 2 supporters in his hand. 3 supporters in his hand now.
But he did draw Guzma, though. And he has access to 2 more instructs. He has 3 Orangurus out on the field. So, yeah, this is what he's going to do right now. He's going to play the Guzma. He's going to bring up the Slugma.
All right, spin the wheel again.
Yeah.
Rescue Stretcher, that does not help. He can't play any of it, right? Is there a Pokemon in his discard? Okay, there is.
There is. It's
Another Grand Ball. Okay, shuffle. Okay, yeah.
So
Put it
he
on
needs
top.
to see Fiery Flint or Ultra Ball or Lost Blender off of this. What does he see?
Field Blower. That's not going to do it.
Oh,
All out for 30 damage.
that is not what you want to announce. Again, Victor just not able to catch a break.
And wow, Nicolas drawing Ultra Ball from the top of his deck, meaning he has the Guzma in his hand, he has an Ultra Ball, he has the Fairy Energy and the Macargo. He has everything he needs to take a knockout on everything but the Grand Bull inactive.
Yeah. There's the Fairy Energy going onto the bench Snubble. With the Guzma in hand, he can just play around the bodybuilding dumbbells quite easily, opting to take out one of the Orangurus, it looks like. I mean, even if Victor doesn't have the Macargo out, which obviously he would like to, being able to do 3 Instructor turn is still pretty good, so cutting that down a little bit is probably going to be a good idea.
Yeah, and I actually love this play of not using Smooth Over. Just set up your turn for next turn, probably with a Diantha on top of your deck.
And that's going for the Smooth Over now.
He could also choose maybe the Field Blower, since that
Yes.
bodybuilding dumbbells is there.
That is exactly what he has gone for.
And this is where I was talking about earlier, where these decks have no disruption outside of Guzma
No,
for your
no.
opponent. So he's going to get that Field Blower next turn.
Yeah, he is. That is, he can pretty much sit comfortably knowing that that's going to stay there. And now for the all-out for 160, the Oranguru goes down, 1 prize card from Nicolas. And now not only is Victor in this really bad spot with the stuff in his prizes, but in spite of having gone first, he's not taking the first prize. Nicolas going second is taking the first prize.
Yeah, it's been a pretty insane turn of events for Nicolas. These 2 games so far really just hitting all the right draws.
There goes Apricorn Maker finding Nest Ball and Ultra Ball. Nest Ball gets played.
Yeah, Victor actually drew Lost Blender for the turn. A pretty good card, kind of a catch-all to just remove those supporters in your hand. Also has Ultra Ball. He
might be able to, probably just trying to work out the best way to play out his hand to make sure that he can fin it out to 0. If he plays the Lost Blender, he would end up drawing a card. That might end up being a supporter which he can't play, so perhaps not wanting to risk the Lost Blender necessarily. Or maybe
well, having the Ultra Ball as a backup kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Pal Pad.
I guess he can play it and instruct, and then Ultra Ball away the 2 cards he instructs for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually works out fine. And definitely Victor recognizing that Lost Blendering away the Tantalizer and the Field Blower is not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination.
All right, we have his last instruct here, and then he'll be able to Ultra Ball, get probably another Grand Bull, or maybe just nothing. Oh, no. He drew Guzma Diantha off of the instruct. Not what you want to discard, especially when you just Pal-Padded back some supporters.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly that. It's not ideal in the slightest.
Yeah, and he actually benched the Snubble this turn, so not being able to get a Grand Bull to evolve it.
No, because otherwise it would be stuck in his hand and he wouldn't be able to get the KO. And obviously Victor can take the KO here. It takes his first prize of the game, and he's actually able to get one of those Slugmas out at least. So that is he's going to be a bench set. Party time in São Paulo, Brazil, but instead Field Blower gets played, discarding the bodybuilding dumbbells. Gets Snubble.
Getting the Diantha, pretty much guaranteeing the attack this turn. And then Instruct, also drawing 2 random cards as well. It would be beneficial if he gets stuff he can burn, or even just an energy to attach. That way he can choose different cards to get with Diantha.
Yeah, so it was a choice band that got attached to the Snubble. That's obviously just to get it out of the hand, because obviously not going to be doing much extra damage-wise in this matchup.
Fiery Flint and Shrine of Punishment. A little awkward here.
A little awkward, but at the same time, he can just down for back for something he needs and something that he doesn't care so much about, and then just Fiery Flint them both away to get the attack off.
Well, he doesn't have access to Instruct or Grand Bull or an energy, so he will just pass the turn here.
Whoa. So
and there we have Grand Bull Evolve, all-out knockout. Victor is back in it, has both of his Slugma now.
these constant turnarounds. I mean, and now Victor's again he's that favored in the prize trade because he's down to 4, whereas Nicolas is still on 5. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if my heart can take much more of this, Jeremy. Like, this is.
All right, there is the Diantha again. He knew he was going to get knocked out. Also has the option to Fiery Flint both of these away, or Mysterious Treasure, and then Instruct into 2 cards. He Fiery Flints away again. But you just run the risk of drawing cards that you might need, like Snubble or even just more energy.
Yeah, something you could have done instead is Mysterious Treasure away the Fiery Flint, just play the Shrine of Punishment and play the rest of the hand out that way, and then still, guarantee the knockout whilst not, putting yourself in a position where he might have to discard something he doesn't want to.
Yeah, because it looks like no other Snubble on the bench for Nicolas here.
No, he's going to go for a smooth over now. He's actually, just going to put a Blitz onto the top of his deck, interestingly enough. Just, getting something that he doesn't really want to bench. Something he's happy to discard off a Fiery Flint. So there it is.
Could this be a turning point for Victor here? He actually drew a Snubble as well.
Oh my goodness. That is, again, like, this turnaround in luck. Nicolas seeing the things he really doesn't want to discard. And he can get the all-out KO here, but...
I don't know if Nicolas can last 7 minutes.
No, I don't know either. And if look how fast
Victor go. Victor down to 3 prizes now, overcoming these terrible odds.
I'm so impressed with the quality of play from both of these players. Again, turning really unfavorable situations back in, turning the wins back, in their side, and be able to, pull a comeback win out of seemingly nowhere.
Oh man, what a match this has been. Who would have thought that a Granbull Mirror can be this exciting?
I mean, I don't think we could have asked for much of a better match for the final round of Swiss.
Is that an energy on the Oranguru?
It is an energy on the Oranguru.
There is a Guzma on the Slugma.
But that's another missed turn of attacks.
Kind of playing the switcheroo here.
Wait, how did he retreat again?
No, he's deciding the Guzma.
Oh, okay. Deciding maybe switch it to the other Oranguru instead.
And then Palpad probably putting back Guzma. Diantha.
No, but hold on, he still needs, because... Oh, no, the Oranguru is on the bench. And
yeah.
Then, okay, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, because the Oranguru was active. He Guzma'd, thought about bringing up the Macargo, but instead brought up the Oranguru with the energy.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so there's another Instruct.
Oh, gets the Blitzel. That could be something pretty good to help him come back. But again, no Snubble in play.
Attaching the Fairy Entity, doing the Instruct. Just
Magma Ring.
Wow.
So 10 damage.
And it can't retreat.
And you can't retreat. Oh, man.
I mean, Nicolas's game plan basically at this point is just hope that Victor can't take 3 prizes very quickly, because of course if he can run the clock out and make it...
Yeah, well, his Guzma did exactly what he wanted it to do. I want to have you not use All Out next turn, and that's exactly what he did.
Just the problem being that Nicolas can't use All Out himself. There's still no Snubbles on his side of the field.
Oh, man. Has that Rescue Stretcher in hand. Could opt for something like Zeep Striker or even just getting Snubble.
Well, he's just played an Apricorn Maker here, so now, you can get like a couple of Nest Balls, or a Nest Ball and an Ultra Ball, and played a Nest Ball, going to go for another Slugma. Actually, just not opting to bench Snubble at all, interestingly enough. And he's going to go for a smooth over, going to put a Guzma on the top of the deck. Yeah, this is the strategy he's going for right now. I think he realizes that if he tries to do a constant trade of, prize against prize, he's going to lose. So instead, he's just going all in on this to run the clock strategy and just try to prevent Victor from taking 3 more knockouts.
Yeah, and it's working. Not having any Slugma early game and now not having any Macargo late game, it's really hindering the setup for Victor here.
And he's committing a lot of energy around the field as well, because he's got 2 energy onto that bench Granbull now. These decks don't play a higher counter basic energy at all. He's really banking on finding a Guzma of his own to switch the Slugma out the active.
Yeah, and then of course we might just see him try to run Victor out of Guzma and then Magma Ring until he just can't retreat.
Yeah.
And then try to stall out the game that way.
There's another Great Ball.
Under 4 minutes left to go here. Round 14, winner of this game will go on to top 8.
Well,
if they tie, then
yeah, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
going to be a little awkward.
Another magma ring. There's a
Pokemon catcher.
That could be interesting.
It's just another way to bring up someone that will have to be Guzma'd out of the active.
Yeah, and with the amount of energy that Victor's committed, like even attaching to and then paying manually to retreat is really not viable.
He put it in his hand, but it was the same card.
Yes. This is the problem when you get into these sort of fast play situations. You've got to be so careful.
Oh, no.
Oh, is there going to be some kind of disagreement here?
It is technically drawing an extra card, but you do know about it. But the thing is, Victor does not know about it.
No, exactly. And he couldn't have done the instruct yet either because the hand is too big.
Yeah.
So there's no, that shortcut doesn't really work out the same way. You can't just say, oh, it wouldn't have mattered. It actually makes potentially a big difference. So
this could be huge because if there is any ruling, it looks like there is no ruling. We'll get a confirmation, though.
Yeah.
But if it is, a double prize penalty could be detrimental, meaning just a Guzma and a knockout could take the game for Victor.
Yeah, we're just going to wait on confirmation of that to see if any penalty was given. I think given that the card went back on top of the deck and didn't get shuffled in, that would kind of tell me that it was just seen as, that it was agreed upon and that it's fine. But we will just get confirmation of that either way.
And it is crazy to think how, on a dime, Nicolas switched his strategy, seeing, I'm not going to be able to keep up with this all-out race. So I'm going to put in my 2 Guzma instead of Dianthas, and then with the Guzmas and the Pokemon catcher, hopefully just deny you being able to win this game.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely the correct strategy to go for, realizing that, no matter, even with, field players guarding the bodybuilding dumbbells, there's no way he could, prevent Victor from taking enough prizes to win just by taking extra prizes in the prize trade.
And there is a smooth over and the pass, but now the Ultra Ball that Victor smoothed over on top last turn gets the other Macargo. Now he'll have access to essentially his entire deck.
Just going to go for the Lost Blender. You don't need to show it.
Yeah. Smooth over. Yeah, I'm going to get this Lost Blender.
Yeah, just get to the point in the game where you just kind of forget because it has to
and which is great because now he can smooth over for the Guzma or the Switch even. Yeah.
And then draw it with the Lost Blender.
Yeah, perfect play right here.
Wow, that is so good. There it is, Lost Blender, Lost zoning those 2, drawing one, which is indeed the Switch.
And then all-out knockout. Victor goes down to 2 prizes. Under a minute left here. Can Nicolas stay off this onslaught?
He's going to be calculating just what resources Victor has been through just to make sure he knows the correct decision to make. He draws for the turn. He finds another Macargo. Not much use to him. He has another Guzma he can use to straw with, though. Oh, no, the Slugma was not evolved yet, so now he has actually access to 2 smooth overs. It's really good.
Tails on Pokemon catcher, but
Guzma.
having the Guzma.
It's got to be done. Guzma bringing up his own Macargo and bringing up Victor's Macargo. Oh, and no, actually going for Oranguru instead.
Again with the fake out here.
Announces pass. And now, can Victor just take 2 prizes? That's all he needs to do.
No. Apricorn Maker off the top of the deck, meaning Guzma is not really an out here. He'll have to do a little bit of thinking with smooth over, with all that, but our time clock has run out. We'll get confirmation if time was called here. If so, Victor is turn 0.
I think by virtue of the fact that Victor has slowed down a lot, I think that would kind of indicate that time has been called.
It also could depend when time was actually called, if it was on Nicolas's turn or not, because Nicolas could have been turn 0, meaning Victor has just 2 turns left to try to win this game.
I mean, it would actually be the case either way, because if the time was called on Victor's turn, this turn, so it would. But it could actually, in a sense, Nicolas has actually hurt himself by doing that, because that means he has 1 less turn.
Well, he was never going to win this game.
No, I guess
by
not.
Prizes.
It just comes down to this, folks. Can Victor get runner prize to tie the series?
Another out he could do is actually get the Guzma and then get the Fairy Energy and take a knockout with Granbull that way. The often not used second attack from Granbull, I believe it looks like 3 fairy energy for 100 something damage.
No,
but no.
Frietas concedes. And Nicolas will make the
Wow.
top 8, more than likely, of the Latin American International Championships.
Just could not get there in enough time.
No.
Needing to go runner on prizes.
Not able to do it, and yeah, wow. That's nail-biter right to the end. But Nicolas doing absolutely everything he had to.